The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Welcome back to the show, Cherries fans, and thank you for joining us. So, of course, this is recorded before the Manchester United game, but before Christmas Day, of course. So, good to have you with us. So, of course, we'll have been to Old Trafford by now, and we will be looking forward to our Boxing Day game against Crystal Palace at Dean Court. Now, Crystal Palace side that have started quite slowly in all respects. However, they have had quite a few changes and some key players taken out of their squad, either by transfers or injuries as well. Now, we do have a very special guest from one of the popular Crystal Palace channels out there. Before we get into it, here's a little bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. Find out what they could do for you, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk. So, of course, Palace are now managed by Oliver Glasner. They did sell Michael Olise, who, of course, was partnering so well with Arabeshi Eze, who is still at the club. But Marc Guéhi as well has also stayed at Palace. So, we do welcome on a very special guest from one of the top Crystal Palace channels out there, and it is a pleasure to welcome on from back of the nest, Louie. Welcome to the show, Louie. How you doing, mate?
I'm all good, man. Glad to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem at all. Our pleasure. Our pleasure. And of course, a Boxing Day game against Crystal Palace. Of course, everybody will be watching this before Christmas, I'm sure, unless people are watching it on Christmas Day. In which case, what are you doing? But let's talk about this game because, of course, Crystal Palace, I expected you to be having a lot better season than what you are. And the first thing that I've said this quite a few times before about Crystal Palace is the Olise and the Arabeshi Eze link.
Yeah.
How big a loss was Olise, and how has that affected Eze's form? Or has he got a new partnership?
Well, I think in any team, if you lose a world-class player, it's going to affect the team massively. Olise was his output was ridiculous in terms of goals, assists, but even just ball retention. He helps Eze, as in like they would be so worried about Olise. Eze would have more space.
Yeah.
But that's not the main reason why our season didn't start very well. We had 4 players of England that went all the way to the final.
Yep.
We had Jefferson Lerma and Daniel Munoz go to the Copa America final. Mm-hmm. We made 4 transfers on deadline day, which is already 3 or 4 games into the season. Yeah. Then we lost, I think it was 9 first-team players, including Anderson, Ayew, and a few more. And Glasner, as a manager, he thrives on, he's got his way of playing. He likes his players to be extremely fit. So all those combinations and maybe a lack of recruitment to replace Olise, but instead of one player, we went with going with 3 different profiles of Kamada, Sarr, and Nketiah.
Yeah.
It didn't really work out at the start, but if you look, barring the game last night when we lost 3-2 to Arsenal, it was 1 defeat in 9 games. We took points off all the top teams. We swept away Brighton, and it's finally kind of started to click. But at the same time, we're working with a small squad, so over the Christmas period, it might be quite tough, as he likes to play such a high-pressing game and high energy. So we're just kind of trying to get to January where he's been promised funds, so we can replenish the squad.
Looking at the recent form, it hasn't been bad at all. And of course, you recently beat Brighton away from home. I know bitter rivals as well. I've never really understood that rivalry. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
It stems from the 1970s. Like, Venables was our manager, Mullery was their manager, and they hated each other when they were teammates at Spurs. And then it kind of transcended into there. And then Palace and Brighton were always in the same league. They kept getting relegated and promoted against each other. And then there was a FA Cup game that went to about 2 or 3 replays. And I think Mullery went over to the Palace fans and threw a bunch of coins in the crowd and said, "You're not worth this." And it just stemmed from there.
But your form since that defeat against Fulham at the start of November has been pretty decent. And things seem to have picked up. Do you feel that that's because of all these players coming back together? Do you feel that the squad has kind of settled after that initial disruption?
I think it's all to do with the manager. I think he's probably the best manager we've had since we started. Obviously, there'll be older fans that will say Koppel and stuff like that took us to the FA Cup final and was in the 3rd in the Division 1. But as a tactical manager, as a man manager, I haven't seen anyone of this level before in my lifetime. And I've been going for 26 years. He's just a whole different level. Every press conference, he speaks well. His tactics are right. And he's been given the short straw with the recruitment and working with a small squad. So yeah, it has come together, but I think that's due to him. It's due to him finding a way to get the best out of what he's got. Instead of playing Sarr and those, because we normally play with those 2 10s behind the striker, he's kind of moved Sarr near Mateta and played more of a flat 3. So yeah, he's just had to tweak it a bit. And it feels like every game we're going into, he's having to just slightly tweak it due to the opposition we're going against, when normally it would just be his way we're playing. They got to deal with us. So that's what's happening at the moment. And like I said, I think we're just trying to get through to January, where we're looking to sign maybe 2 wing backs and a forward.
Well, you've definitely started to pull yourself away from, any immediate danger, and it looks promising now at Selhurst Park. The one thing I do want to ask about is, of course, one man who we absolutely love. He stayed with us even though we was relegated from the Premier League. He helped us get back there, and then none of us could really begrudge him his move. Was a little bit surprised that he did go to Palace in the end, but that is, of course, Jefferson Lerma. How good has he been for you guys?
Do you know what? Yesterday at the Arsenal game, I was there. He was the best player on the pitch for us. He's his quality on the ball, I wouldn't say is of levels of Adam Wharton, or he's not the best passer. He's not going to do defense splitting passes, but he runs his socks off every single game. He doesn't leave anything out on that pitch, and a lot of the time that's what fans they're happy with that. He's got a great leap, and I do like he's a bit nasty. Like, you got to have those players in your team. Yeah, he's a bit nasty. Good link up with Daniel Munoz, who's Colombian right back. And we still got Decore coming back from injury. Wharton's still trying to shrug off the groin injury. But at the moment, him and Hughes have been the game changers for us in the middle. But he might lose his spot if there's 100% fit Wharton and Decore, because I feel like they're just a level above. But yeah, he's been unbelievable since he's come.
Yeah, he's a quality, and he's just such a nice bloke as well. He really is a nice guy. Of course, you did sign Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal. He was a man that was very much linked to us before the season kicked off. Do tell us, what do you feel that Palace have got that Bournemouth have missed out on there?
Not much. You've got
Okay.
was it Evan Nielsen?
Yes,
He's
Evan
quality.
Nielsen, yeah.
Yeah, he's quality. I love watching him. He's a good player. Another one that looks like a bit nasty, strong, great touch, can finish.
Yeah.
Everything that Nketiah hasn't really shown since he's arrived. But I think with that Nketiah link, it was just like they linked him with every single decent mid-table Premier League team, whether it was Brighton, Bournemouth, Palace, Fulham, just that same echelon of teams that pick up the big sixes, players that are just outside their 11. So like your Smith Rowes and your Iwobis, like it's just a natural progression for them to go to a club like Palace or Bournemouth. He scored a great header yesterday, great header when he came on, but we haven't really been playing him in his own position. He did pick up a hamstring injury not too long ago. He was out for 4 or 5 weeks. I think we got to play him in his position. He's got to come on for Mateta. He's got to battle Mateta, but Mateta has been doing really well. So if a striker's playing well, the only way to dislodge him is to come on and score. And if you're not coming on and scoring, you're not going to take his place.
Well, one man as well, between the sticks, Dean Henderson has been mentioned to me by a lot of people, actually, as being an absolutely rock in between the sticks for Crystal Palace this season. Do you personally think that he is going to knock on the door of Jordan Pickford, firstly in the England setup, but do you feel that he could even surpass that sort of level? And how good has he been for you?
He's a fantastic shot stopper, but I don't think he'll dislodge Pickford because he's not great with his feet. He's okay with his feet. He's good with his feet. But he's not spectacular. I think Pickford's really good with his feet, and he's a good shot stopper. So I think that just he will stay number one unless maybe he gets an injury or something like that. But Dean Henderson's been doing really well. He cost us a couple of points earlier on in the season. But in this last run of 9 games, he's been unbelievable. Great penalty save against Villa. Some fantastic saves yesterday. I don't know if you watched the game. Some ridiculous saves. Yeah. And against Brighton as well. So he's only 24 years old. A lot of the fan base was angry when we signed him for 20 million, and a lot of our summer budget went on him when we had Sam Johnson. But then now we've got rid of Sam Johnson for 10 million, and he's been playing really well. Everyone's happy with him.
You'll be looking at these Christmas games. Probably, of course, you've got ourselves, and then you've got at Selhurst Park, Southampton, which, let's be honest, Southampton, as much as they're our local rivals, as you probably know, they're not very good, are they, to be perfectly honest?
No.
Would you be disappointed as a Palace fan if you didn't get 6 points from these 2 games, considering the upturn in form? And I know that we're in good form, but you probably would have earmarked us as one of the teams to beat, wouldn't you?
Do you know what Glasner says? He doesn't target specific games. It's just he believes we can win every game, and I think that's the mentality that you have to have. I think with the congested fixtures with Arsenal as well, we have to play. I think we should be targeting 6 points out of those games, but I think around this time, it's very dependent on who's available, the fatigue of the players as well. So if someone offered Palace fans 4 points from Bournemouth and Southampton, I think they'd bite your hand off now. But I still think it's a 50-50 game when we play against each other. I think your style of play might suit us a little bit more. But Iriola's a great manager. And I think him against Glasner is a good tactical game.
Anton Semenyo is definitely our threat down the right-hand side. And has been absolutely fantastic so far this season. How do you feel that Palace will stop him?
Dude, you know what? I think Semenyo would fix all of our problems, if I was honest. Like, we need that little inside 10. He would be perfect for us.
Yeah.
We could have signed him for 10 million and we didn't end up doing it. Yeah, he's a great player. I watched your game against Ipswich.
Yes.
I thought he was quite wasteful that game, but I didn't understand why he was playing on the left. I feel like
Yeah, it's a weird thing because against Manchester City, he did exactly the same as well. And we switched him over and he was cutting in towards the middle a little bit more and it worked. Against Ipswich, I've got to agree with you there. He was a bit wasteful. I think, his performance, of course, Monday night against West Ham United wasn't particularly that great as well. I've got to say that.
Did he get a knock?
I think it's probably fatigue. Unless there's something that they're not telling us about, it could well be that it's rare that he has like peaks and troughs. When he was at Bristol City, he was very, very inconsistent, so to speak.
Yeah.
But Iriola has got that consistency out of him where he's been fantastic every single game he's played this season. And to be honest, last season as well, he was absolutely on fire. So I'm thinking it probably is. It's got to be one of the two. Either he's got a little injury and a knock, or that he's just played so many games. If he wasn't to play against Crystal Palace, and this is something that we have discussed, because I think rotation is going to be an important thing, probably for both sides. What do you think? Would you be quite relieved, if Semenyo wasn't in that lineup?
Yeah, of course. It's a bit like if you saw that Eze wasn't starting or one of our stronger players. Well, probably Eze is not on great form, but you've got the one thing that annoyed me when I was watching you against Ipswich. I was like, they've taken off their whole front four and they've got a whole new front four. I was like, where do all these players come from? We take off a player and there's no one left. We're bringing on Jeffrey Schlapp. So yeah, I was a bit jealous with that. So even if Semenyo hasn't played, like I said, with our manager, I believe your manager is quite similar. It's like, okay, Semenyo's not performing, but that's not. He has a structure. He has a style of play.
Yeah.
If one person's not performing, you're coming out. Hence why I brought in Evan Nilsson in my fantasy football team, and I messaged my friend. I was like, I bet you Unai comes on again and scores like he did against Ipswich. Lo and behold, he gets taken off, and you got a striker on the bench that can stick the ball in from 30 yards on free kick. So
that free kick was beautiful.
So I
didn't expect it at all.
So I'm in that thing of obviously Semenyo's dangerous, but like you've got dangerous players all over. Clive, Tavernier, Unai. I'm not the biggest Ouattara fan. I think he's a bit clumsy, but he's still dangerous with his pace. Brooks, Christie, who's the other kid that you got from Bristol
Alex
City.
Scott.
Great player.
Yeah.
A bit injury prone. Oh yeah, there you go. But
yeah,
it's the manager's style of play. It's the confidence the manager puts in his players that worries me, not really individuals as much.
We talked about, and you did mention there that you're probably hoping in January to get a couple of signings in. One man that is being muted with a move out of Selhurst Park, and you know who I'm going to mention here, and you're probably going to hate me for saying this, Marc Guéhi. I absolutely love Marc Guéhi and how he plays the game, how tough defender he is. His positioning is perfect. I think, honestly, he's the best centre-back we have got.
Oh, yeah.
English centre-back we've got at this moment in time.
Yeah.
How worried are you, and how much do you think he's worth?
It's funny because I've had plenty of arguments with people over this. Like, this is before he was in the England squad. And I used to say, this guy's better than John Stones. This guy is right-footed, left-footed. He can play left centre-back, right centre-back. He can play in a 2, he can play in a 3. Powerful in the air. 1v1 duels. He is the best centre-back I've ever seen at Palace. Until this Maxence Lacroix came, who looks another level as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Guéhi's ability to go on his left foot and his right foot and play line breaking passes. it's just next level. And he's given us 4 years, and he deserves. His move shouldn't be. I was just a bit disappointed that he was going to go to Newcastle, because I think he is a Champions League level player. I think he should go to Liverpool. I think if they was going to replace Van Dijk, it would be someone like Marc Guéhi. He's not, obviously, Van Dijk's one of the best centre backs ever in the Premier League, but I think he needs to be City, maybe not Chelsea, but Liverpool, or even like go abroad, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I think he's that level of player. Me personally.
I know I've spoken to a couple of Aston Villa fans, and they've said that he is the solution for them, really, in defence. Yeah. Marc Guéhi, but I'm sure that you want him to stay an Eagle. I'm kind of in that. I understand that fans have an emotional attachment, but I also understand that Marc Guéhi has ambitions, and if a player gives his all every week for 4 years, go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. If we want to sign Marc Guéhi,
not January though. Not January. not January.
No,
summer.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can't imagine. I think January probably be way too soon as well.
Yeah.
As Oliver Glasner will want to keep that squad stable, and I don't think it will work that well for Marc Guéhi to go into a side mid-season. He wants to hit the ground running, have a whole summer behind him. So if we want to sign him, we've got to get in the Champions League, guys. But there we are.
Another thing is he'll be in the last year of his contract, but everyone's worried he's going to go for 30, 40 million. No, there's going to be a bidding war for him. If one team's saying, we'll pay 40 million, there's definitely going to be another team saying they'll pay 45, another team will pay 50. But Chelsea have first option on him, so that if they match anyone's price, they get him, because that was in the deal.
Well, the other person I did want to mention as well, you have mentioned him very briefly, is Adam Wharton. Now, everybody was really, really, really surprised when he got put into the England squad. I was a bit like, right, okay, that's a bit of a strange one for me. However, he is a real quality player. And do you think that he has come on leaps and bounds this season off the back of that experience, or do you feel that that's not really added much to his game?
No, I still stand on this. He should have started for England. He's what England needed. They had no control of the midfield. He's the only player that can play 1-touch, 2-touch, press resistant. The amount of turnovers he does as well, he wins the ball back.
Yeah.
But the annoying thing was he picked up a hernia injury while away in summer.
Yeah.
And obviously with the hernia injury, you can still play on it, but it's extreme pain. And at the start of the season, we didn't have any players, so he had to keep playing. But you could just see he was going down, coming off at halftime. He was just he can't train. So it was not nice to see, especially as a 20-year-old as well. And this guy is going to be world class. He's going to go on to do play at the highest level. So he ended up. We won our first game, and I said he's waiting for Decore to get fit and then try and get a win, and then he'll let him get surgery. Lo and behold, we beat Spurs. He put everything out on the pitch. He done well, and then he's like, go and get surgery. He came back to training last week, and he's had a flare up on the groin again. So he's now been ruled out to the earliest, the start of January. So we haven't seen the best of Adam Wharton this season because of the hernia injury.
Well, hopefully he does make a very, very quick recovery and, can play a big part this season, because he's not just a big part for Crystal Palace. He's a big part for the national setup as well.
Yeah, I think Tuchel will love him.
Oh, yeah.
Me personally, yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. One of the players that did leave, of course, during the summer as well, and again, this was a little bit of a weird one for me, was Jordan Ayew. Now, Jordan Ayew is a well-respected, a very, very good Premier League player. He's a bit of a veteran, I know, but were you firstly surprised to see him go? And secondly, do you feel that maybe you could have done with what he is bringing at Leicester in that Palace side still for another season?
Yeah, do you know what it is? Sarr was meant to be an IU replacement.
Yeah.
And then we didn't go big on the Olise replacement. We should have gone for a Nusa or a James McAtee or just that same similar profile. And selling IU was, in hindsight, a mistake. But we signed IU for £2 million. About 6-7 years ago. Leicester offered £8 million for a player in the last year of their contract.
Yeah.
Business-wise, it's hard to turn that down. But then in hindsight, you start getting injuries here and there. And what we lack since Olise left, and like we've had a lot of turnover of players, is ball carriers. And anyone who's supported a team when they've played against Palace and Jordan Ayew's playing, I know how annoyed you must get the amount of free kicks that guy wins. It will send you insane, because even us Palace fans will be like, how has he won that free kick? As soon as any contact, he knows exactly how to win a free kick every single time. He might not produce loads of goals and assists, but he will run his socks off for 90 minutes. He's good in the dressing room, good pro, and he can pull out a crazy goal every now and then. So in hindsight, I probably would have preferred to keep Ayew and not sign Nketiah. In hindsight, but that's how it is. Nketiah might prove me wrong in the long run.
I guess it's that balance of, look, this player is so old and, probably coming to the twilight ends of his career. Look, we've got this decent offer, let's sell him at this point. But still, I think, that as that backup or that other option, could well have helped Glasner as well this year. Of course, it is a bit strange because, of course, we have got Christmas and you've got a game against Arsenal in the way. We've got a game against Manchester United. I think we've probably got the easier of the two games coming up. Whereas I think you've probably got Southampton. Let's be honest, Southampton aren't getting out.
New manager bounce potentially.
Yeah, I can't see it. I honestly
do you know?
I can't see it.
I think there's going to be the vultures. I love Tyler Diblin now. I think he'd change our team as well. He's a great, and Carl Walker-Peters, because I feel like we need cover. He's a really good player that can play both sides. They've got a couple of. I think that Fernandez guy isn't too bad. Yeah, but some of the lineups they've put out, it's like, how is this team in the Premier League?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I spoke to Matt Letizia and, he said exactly the same. Tyler Diblin, is an outstanding talent. He's somebody that he wants to see stay with Southampton. I can't see it because unlike Matt Letizia had a lot of good players around him. So, I thought for a second, Louie, you was going to turn around and say, oh, yeah, that Ryan Fraser guy, he's not too bad either. But I was, well done, mate.
I'm not a fan of Ryan Fraser.
No, there we are. You're popular here. Yeah, we'll get you a black and red shirt as well. I tell you what, because we got these games in the way, of course, I think you probably got the two easier games across the Christmas period than we have. We got a trip to Fulham. I think, it's always difficult, but if you had to put some money on it, what do you think the score would be at this moment in time?
Well, we're draw specialists. I'd say 2-2. 2-2. Yeah, I feel like it would be like I said, two very, very good managers.
Yes,
very good managers. I think your manager's great. I love his style of play. Very attacking, and I think Glasner he enjoys going up against these type of managers. Yeah, these managers, they're a bit like, they're so obsessive. They they'll be looking, studying each other. I'd probably go for a score draw. Like I said, it's very dependent on who's fit and who isn't.
I think we might make a couple of changes, and looking at your previous games, looking at your recent form, you are in decent form. You know, you haven't been beaten since the start of November. I would normally say, and I don't normally bet against my own team, but
Mhm.
I'm going to say that I think this might be a game that we draw. The
Yeah.
main reason being is because of the amount of games that we're playing. Um, you know, in the position we're in, to be honest, Louis, we just got to make sure we don't get beat. We just need to keep that
Mhm.
run going, you know. And if we could get a decent result against Manchester United, which of course we beat them 3-0, should have beaten them 5-0 up there last season.
Yeah.
I think that Iriola will make some changes for this game.
I think
Um,
I think you could beat them. I definitely think so. I think, like you said, like you saw how Forest set up against
yeah.
United, it'll be a bit similar.
Mhm.
I think Forest, Palace, Bournemouth. When we've all got our strongest teams, we're a nightmare for when Big Six teams there's so much pressure on them to beat us, and there's no pressure on us. No one expects Bournemouth to go and beat Man United, but really and truly, you've probably got the teams are probably quite even. For being
Yeah.
honest, I personally think like the player pro, like we say Garnacho is not better than Cliver or Semenyo.
No.
Hoyland's not better than Evan Nilsson. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I really like your centre back that you signed from Juventus.
Yep. Dean
Um,
Houghton. Yeah.
who's Man United's left back? Kirkes, quality player.
Yeah.
Like if we're being honest, it's an even. You're above them in the table as well. So
Exactly. And to be honest, I wouldn't swap any of their players for ours at the moment.
no,
You
I
know, the
think,
only one that I probably would take is Kobe Mainu,
and I'm not a Kobe Manu fan.
aren't you?
If I'm honest, I think he lacks the physical side.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the Premier League is quite technically good, and
Yeah.
I don't think his technique is so outstanding that it can negate his ability to get around the pitch. He's
Yeah.
quite small. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like you said, a player. I feel like Christie would thrive against Mainu.
Oh, yeah.
He's athletic. He gets about the pitch. I don't see Mainu doing anything outstanding that Christie can't do, or Lewis Cook. Do you know what I mean? So, but there is I think some Palace fans were thinking maybe Glasner rests people against Arsenal and lets players who haven't been playing as much really go for it against Arsenal, and then they're more fresh for the winnable games. So maybe
Yes.
we might ring it, because we went full strength yesterday against Arsenal. Munoz was suspended for that game and this game because he's got 7 yellow cards, 2 in the cup, 5 in the league. So I think there's a possibility he might rest Eze, bring Kamada in, let Nketiah start. So we're fresh for the 2 games against you and Southampton. That's a possibility as well.
Whereas I see this probably as a trickier game. You know, Palace are in decent form. Whereas I don't, you know, Man United, you just don't know what they're going to turn up with. They beat Manchester City. You know, Manchester City are on a bad run themselves. So yeah, it'll be a very, very interesting game, this one, Louis. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to see us get 3 points. I think it'll probably be a draw. I'm going to stand with you on that. I'll go 1-1 just to be a little bit different. But yeah, I would not be surprised to see this end in a draw. Before I let you go, mate, do tell us all about Back of the Nest, because it is a really, really fantastic channel that you got over there.
Yeah, I'm quite new to it. Dee brought me on. It's a really good channel. We do match previews, we do live match reactions, we do watch-alongs, we do player ratings after the game. I'm going to do the player ratings for Arsenal after this. We also do Palace news stuff. There's opposition previews. But yeah, you can check it out. It's just at Back of the Nest on YouTube.
Perfect. And the link is just below as well. So go and subscribe to Back of the Nest now. So, Louis, thank you so much. Have a lovely Christmas.
Cheers, mate. You too.
And no doubt we'll see what happens on Boxing Day.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
All right. Thanks so much. And thank you everybody for joining us. Remember, hit the like, subscribe and the bell button below. It helps the channel to grow. Do go check out all of our other interviews as well. We've had David Icke on this channel. Of course, we've also had the likes of Kasabian, Five, Hardfire, the Blue Tones, Dodgy, Happy Mondays, Ocean Colour Scene. Have I named any twice? I wouldn't be surprised if I have. Also, we've had Omid Jalili, the comedian, and Professor Brian Cox, plus many others. And of course, we can't forget Harry in all this as well. Sorry, Harry, I've left you till last. Save the best till last, as they say. Until the next show, thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.